I'd like to welcome and give our thanks to Representative Natoli, who's come all the way from Maroochydore to all that way. And look, it's fantastic. She's been fantastic about doing it, and it's fantastic that a local personality of your stature should do this for us. Thank you very much. Give her a big hand, please. Representative Natoli.
Thank you, Carl. All the way from Maroochydore, I even crossed the border. Thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be here this evening on this very, very important occasion. It is the perfect opportunity for you, the people of Noosa, and more importantly, the voters of Noosa, to have a look and a listen at the mayoral candidates, at the two people who are putting their hand up before you to lead this shire over the next few years. They will speak, they'll be timed, we'll have a timekeeper so that the process will be very deliberate and very calculated, and then there'll be an opportunity for questions from the floor. And I'll take those questions. And if you could introduce yourself and where you're from when you're asked to deliver a question. I also have some questions that have been pre-entered by people, so we'll go through that and then we'll have a look at how the timing's going and we will determine what happens from there. So now let us begin. And first of all, I'd like to call on Dr. Patricia Peterson to speak for 3 minutes about her visions for the beautiful Noosa Shire.
It's wonderful to see so many of you who have come along to attempt to genuinely ascertain who you would like as not only your new mayor, but who you would like on council. And the wonderful news is, regardless of what happens on the 9th of November, you, the Noosa people, the people of Noosa, have won. Regardless of whether Noel or I win, regardless of who's on the council, it's going to be a terrific council. The role of mayor. First of all, you can see a few things that I would like to do for the Noosa area behind me. However, I'm not going to speak to that. Very quickly, I'm going to have a look at what the role of mayor actually is. A lot of people are confused about what a mayor actually does. Well, the mayor is responsible for the budget, for developing strategies for national, global markets, for chairing council meetings, for working cooperatively with council team members, strategic direction to the CEO. The mayor is the primary media spokesperson, the face of the council, securing funding from state federal government, nurturing cooperative relationships with neighbouring councils, managing innovation and change, motivating and leading others, and leading a customer-oriented organisation. Now that's the job description, that's the role. So your job tonight is to work out who is the best qualified, who has the most skills in order to do the job. There are a few additional mayoral duties. They're not official, but I think it's extremely important that we have official launches, openings, and the mayor shows up to support the community in those events. Community feedback. I think it's extremely important that not only we have internet access and the technologies that are available to us today, but we still have face-to-face community meetings, monthly face-to-face community meetings. Promotion of Noosa as a tourism destination, not nationally, but internationally. We have an opportunity here to put Noosa on the map. Support for small business and encouraging private investment. Okay, what are the financial, budgetary, qualification, skills, experience I have? PhD, issues relevant to economics. University lecturer, economics, finance, business. Most importantly, I was a local government finance strategy consultant, which means that when mayors and council and councillors were having difficulties with their budget, it was my role to go in and rescue them from bankruptcy. Now, far from... Actually, I am going to say, if I am exposed to rudeness tonight, I am taking my leave. I have come here in good faith, out of respect for this community, but I also demand respect from each and every one of you, and I will leave immediately if I'm not shown that respect. Janine Maxwell-Jones is not here tonight because she has been threatened, as has Adam Presnell, and I support them in boycotting this event because of that. But I will not be disrespected tonight. Again, I will leave. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Peterson. It's now my pleasure to call on Noel Playford to speak for his 3 minutes. Noel.
I'd rather talk about the future of Noosa than myself. But many people coming to these forums didn't live here when I was mayor, and I've been told I need to talk about what happened during that time. So here's the short version. I was running a financial services business in Noosa Junction when I first stood for mayor. The council was so deeply in debt that Queensland Treasury sent a letter asking the council how it proposed to repay the debt. Of course, the letter wasn't made public. Even the councillors didn't see it, but a copy fell off the back of a truck, as the saying goes. The council also had no vision for our future, and our lifestyle was under threat because there was no leadership as a consequence. The organisation was demoralised, dysfunctional, and inward-looking. The most important thing we did was to quickly develop a team culture in council, because no organisation ever succeeds as a one-person band. During my 9 years as mayor, we reduced the crippling debt and kept rate increases within inflation. We changed the organisational culture so it was customer focused. We made the council efficient and effective. We opened all meetings and staff reports to the public. We let local communities decide spending priorities in their local areas. We banned high-rise, and we worked with our community to develop a Noosa plan as the roadmap for our future. Now that's history. I really want to talk about our future because I'm passionate about the Noosa where I was fortunate to grow up. If I'm elected, we will restore all the good things that Noosa Council was renowned for that we've lost since amalgamation. But that will be easy. We've done it before. I'm thinking more about the challenging and exciting opportunities we will have as a council and a community next year, and how best to channel the enthusiasm in constructive ways. So I also want to use my knowledge, my experience and passion for Noosa to develop new initiatives, such as improving partnerships with community organisations to make our community stronger, engaging successful local entrepreneurs on job creation initiatives, allowing residents to have a say and participate in decision making on major issues and spending priorities, and working with the private sector to strengthen the capacity of family businesses to prosper and grow. And finally, I intend to help new councillors learn quickly, so hopefully I can retire gracefully in 2016. Thank you.
Now a question for each of you, and if the timekeeper would indulge me with 30 seconds, in 30 seconds each, Dr. Peterson, could you tell me please your top 3 priorities for a 2-year Noosa Council? So the top 3 things you will focus on.
Absolutely. I have a passion to get our children, our young families, individual men off our streets. There is a camp at John's Landing, which is just an embarrassment for this community. We need to do something about it. We need to do it now. I'm for an expansion of the Noosa Hospital, more beds, funding for the reintroduction of the funding, knee, hip replacements, and I am for a third facility, which is an integrated aged care facility, low to high care needs. Thank you.
Thank you. Summarised, that's homeless issues, hospital and the integrated aged care. Noel, in 30 seconds, your top 3 priorities, please.
First thing to do is to weld a team together. We have to rebuild a new council, and that means all the councillors you elect, the mayor and the organisation. If we don't have a team approach, we will not succeed. If we do not get the finances right, we will not succeed. No council can ever deliver what a community wants unless it is financially sustainable. They are the 2 major things that we've got to get onto straight away. The third thing is engagement with the community. I want a council, and I'm sure those talented people who are sitting up there tonight, and you're lucky to have so many good people to vote for, will want the community to be heavily involved in everything a council does.
So to summarise, ladies and gentlemen, welding a team with councillors, managing the finances and engagement with the community. Dr. Peterson, your website and also your slide earlier says you have plans to turn Hastings Street into a mall with underground parking and provide free buses, a satellite university and funding for the age-related surgery. Can you outline for us how you would intend to fund these initiatives?
Absolutely. I think when developers want to come into the area and put projects, get their projects underway, I think that's the opportunity for the developers to be community contributors. They do this in other councils and they do it very well. So there's a funding source, if you like, that hasn't been exploited in the past. I also think that having excellent relationships with neighbouring mayors, councils is extremely important, and also state, federal counterparts. Thank you.
Thank you. Noel, there is community concern, misplaced or otherwise, that the Noosa Parks Association would have undue influence on a council led by you. How do you respond to those comments?
I've spent 19 years previously, either as councillor or mayor in Noosa. In all that time, I've been a proud member of the Noosa Parks Association, which I joined in the late 70s. I have never had a single person from the Noosa Parks Association try to tell me what to do. And people who know me will know that if anybody tells me what to do, then they don't. I won't say more. I will. I'm not as bad as my wife. She's worse.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to open it to questions from the floor. Could I see a show of hands? Yes, could you stand? Just wait 1 second, we'll get the microphone to you.
Alex Harris from Noosaville. Dr. Peterson, can you tell us why you want the job?
It's a good question, especially in recent weeks. I've been asking myself, or at least close friends have been asking me the same question. It's obvious in the private sector I'd be earning significantly more than what I'll be earning as mayor, so it's obviously not the money. The reason is 30 years ago my partner bought land in the hinterland. I've been nurturing that land myself, pulling out so many camphor laurels and poisoning them and doing all sorts of things there. I couldn't tell you how many trees I've planted and the extent to which I've nurtured that land. It's extremely important. Sorry, I've run out, sorry. It's a passion for the hinterland, for my land. It's been a long-term goal to be here, and I'm here for the long term. I'd like to be elected this time, next time, the time after, until you're ready to see me out of here. Thank you.
Thank you. A question now for Mr. Playford. If someone has a question for Mr. Playford. There's one over here. Thank you.
No,
Sorry, can you tell us your name and where you're from first?
My name's Mike Burnley from Noosa. Question to Noel, is it possible, maybe not in the first term, but maybe the second, to de-amalgamate from Unity Water and the state government controlled, over-bureaucratic, overpriced water system as opposed to the efficient, affordable and clean system we had prior to amalgamation.
Probably not, and that's a sad thing because when that happened, Noosa Council had no debt, no water debt at all. All the assets have been taken, and the reason is that Noosa Council will become around about a 10% shareholder in Unity Water. So apart from state government regulations, we couldn't wind it up. We will be a very minority partner. The other larger shareholders will be the remaining Sunshine Coast Council and Moreton Bay Regional Council.
A question now for Dr. Peterson.
Thank you. Jeff Nusky from Noosa. My question is to Dr. Peterson. Dr. Peterson, can you pledge that your council, unlike some of the earlier Noosa councils, council will not be manipulated or controlled by unelected groups or individuals? Can you pledge this, please?
Absolutely, and I'd like to say, please, can everyone please show some respect? We're here at a community forum. That's it. I'm sorry, if I hear it one more time, I've said I'm taking my leave. That's it. I'm sorry, but I said that I would take my leave if I and others weren't showing respect, and I am leaving. In terms of, before I go though, Mr. Nusky, I apologise for the rudeness demonstrated to you, and I will answer your question. And that is, I fully support the whole of community determining policies, practices and having input into council, and I do not believe that any one group, political party should have control of the council or undue influence over it. Thank you, and I am taking my leave. I will open up for those people who genuinely want to know what I stand for and what my views are. Would you please come to Raw Energy in Noosaville at 10 o'clock, and I will happily talk to you on a one-on-one and answer your questions, but I will not participate in a forum with such rudeness and such disrespect to others. Thank you and good night. Thank you.
Excuse me just a minute, Dr. Peterson. Could I just ask that before it finishes earlier by just a few minutes, we only had another 5 minutes, could I ask you to consider just waiting? We've had a question to you. In fairness, there should be another question to Noel.
Yes, I'll wait until Mr. Playford answers his question and then I'll take my leave. Thank you.
Does someone else have a question for Mr. Playford? Over here.
My name's Bill Roy. I'm wondering how Noel feels about returning to divisions in the council as they were before, and an increased number of councillors so that we can have a much closer local government system as we had before. Thank you.
Most councils, the majority of councils in Queensland have no divisions. All of the very large ones have divisions because they are very large. The vast majority of the others don't have divisions. In our case, I am really pleased we do not have divisions, because if we don't pull together right from the beginning, then we're not going to be successful as we are expected to be by the community. We need to focus on getting things right for the whole community. There is no place for anybody on council, not just giving preference to any community groups, but giving preference to an area that happened to elect them.
Thank you. Could I ask now for you to make a summary before you leave. A last final statement, if you wanted to summarise and leave on a positive note, if you could do a summary, Dr. Peterson and then Mr. Clayton.
Look, I would love to, but I said I was taking my leave because of the rudeness, and that's exactly what I'm doing. You can, all of you, those who genuinely want to listen to what I have to say, you can come and talk to me. I will be at Raw Energy, 10 a.m. Sunday, and I would love to speak to each and every one of you, and you can ask me whatever I like, but I will not participate in a forum where there is so much disrespect. I stand for, I'm against bullying, I'm against intimidation, I stand for respect, and I stand by my decision to take my leave right now. Thank you, good evening.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if I could have your attention, please. I'll now offer Mr. Playford the same opportunity to present a summary of his statements. And if we'll just wait a moment, Noel, we'll just wait for Dr. Peterson to be able to leave. Thank you, Dr. Peterson. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Playford has said he's happy to answer some more questions. Does anyone have another question for Mr. Playford? We don't have a lot of time before our stated finish, but there was one lady here who had her hand up earlier. Thank you.
Oh, great. I'm a bit disappointed. I really am. I thought we were a community. Community stands together. There was 2 people on the stage. I've never met any of these people. And they both put their heart out there for the community. Now my question was, what can you do for the rural area? Thank you.
A great deal. As I said before, to me, the word Noosa is not Noosa heads. It never has been. The trouble is, a lot of people try to talk about a divide, and it's in the minds of a small percentage of people, and it's about time they gave it up. I grew up at Walpunga, outside Kinkin. I went to school at Walpunga, I went to school at Pomona. I've lived in about 8 places in Noosa Shire. To me, Noosa, when I say Noosa, I don't mean Noosa heads. I don't mean Noosaville. I mean Noosa Shire. And that's why I spent the last 3 years of my life, well, most of it anyway, working with fantastic people to get our council back. Because that's the only way we get Noosa Shire back. That's Noosa to me.
Another question over here, Carl.
Okay, it's John from Sunshine Beach. How important is it that the leader of the new council, now that we finally got it back, knows the Noosa region inside out?
Very.
You could have somebody that knows the Noosa region inside out and is absolutely terrible. So that could be me. I mean, really, you have to know the community, I think. That's the important thing. But, you know, and this is a special community, so, but I don't think it takes many people who come here as new arrivals, and probably most people have been a new arrival at some stage. As a friend of mine says, well, you don't have much discrimination because you didn't have a choice. At least we came here. We chose that you were born here. So don't think you're high and mighty because you've lived here all your life. But people choose to live here, and I think that's what makes things special, because people understand, I think, pretty quickly that it is a special place, and they understand their whole community very quickly. So, you know. I know I haven't really answered your question, I've rambled a bit, but I think a lot of people would like to go home. I'm happy to answer more questions, but just, Rosanna, ask the question.
There is one more man up here who's had his hand up quite for a long time here. So we'll ask that question and then we'll make that the last, because there are plans for all of the councillors to be available outside, and so that you are able to meet each of the councillors. And obviously, in a mayoral forum where there's only one candidate left, that's a little bit tricky. So we'll have another question here. Well, we could. We've done that many a time, Noel. I used to, my beat was Noosa Council when I was a reporter back in the day when Mr. Playford was mayor. So we do go back a bit of a way there.
Because I think I'm good enough to do the job in 2 years. Look, I'm a very reluctant candidate, I have to say, and I think, I guess it's a sense of obligation. People asked me to head up the Alliance of Community Groups about 3 years ago when it was decided to have a really hard go and push to get a Noosa Council back. And obviously because I had been there and so had Bob, but Bob was otherwise engaged trying to run a regional council, obviously I had to agree. And during that period of time, a lot of people did a hell of a lot of work, and then we had all the people who contributed to getting out a fantastic vote and so on. So you get towards the end of it, and then you realise I'm worn out, I'm exhausted, like a lot of other people. But what's the job going to be? And the job is going to be rebuilding a council basically from scratch. We're going to have. The more I thought about it, the more I thought I promised all these things. We can do all these things. But I don't want to walk down the street in 6 months' time because there wasn't somebody who had, like you can't learn to be a mayor and rebuild a council at the same time, in my opinion. And because, ask Bob, he'll tell you, we've discussed it, you have to learn to be a mayor. It doesn't matter if you've been a councillor before, it's a different job, and you have to learn. And I just thought it was completely unfair for somebody to have to learn to be a mayor and try to be the leader of a council at the same time. And
okay.
Rebuild the council.
So we've got a question at the back.
Hi, my name's Simone, I'm from the Junction. So you talked about one of your first priorities was building a team in the new council. What sort of strategies do you have up your sleeve to ensure that there isn't bullying and that everyone gets along and you can facilitate and foster diversity in different people's views and people's different views are respected? Sorry, did I speak too quickly?
No, that's fine. When I was first elected, in the 4 elections preceding that, and that election, there were 12 councillors and a mayor, and half the councillors kicked out every election. So there was a big turnover. So people were not happy. So the question was, how do you get 12 diverse people to actually act like human beings and work together? So I asked all the councillors in before they were councillors. They hadn't been sworn in. And we sat down and we spent a day together. And one of the first things I said was, do you want to get elected in 3 years' time? If the answer is yes, you've got to learn to work together very quickly. Because if there is disharmony in a council, then your chances of getting re-elected in 3 years' time are going to be pretty small. It's amazing what self-interest will do. No, really. I mean, people understood that. You just talk about that. And we resolved there and then that we would have our differences, we would debate because we didn't all believe the same things, but the debate stayed in the council chamber, and win or lose, when you walked out, that was it. No more recriminations, no more arguments, none of that sort of stuff. And if you ask all the councillors who were there over the years, and there weren't many because we succeeded to that extent, and we didn't have a big turnover of councillors after that because we worked together. And we worked with the staff, with the organisation, and the culture was much different from before.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bring the forum to a close now. Before you leave, we are going to also draw the lucky door prizes. There are $400 worth of prizes here, so I'd ask you to draw out your tickets. Please thank our remaining mayoral candidate, Noel Playford.